Hi, we're Jamie and David, and we are here to talk about some board games.
More specifically, we're here to talk about our top 10 games that are new to us in 2024. Very importantly, though, these are games that are new to us. So, not new releases of the year, just things that we first played in the year.
And I think we're going to kick it off with some honorable mentions because we're going to cheat a little bit on this one. I've got two solo games that are my honorable mentions. So the first one is Q-less. This is a game that I purchased from TikTok Shop, and it is just like a little solitary crossword game. You've got these set of dice. I'm actually going to show it. You've got like 12 little dice in here that all have letters on them, and you're trying to arrange them in a crossword format without re-rolling any of the dice. But the nice thing is that it's called Q-less because there are no cues. I've played this so many times just as like a little brain break from work. I've played this on a plane. I just really enjoy having it. So Q-less was a nice surprise for me. So my second honorable mention is A Gentle Rain, which is another solitaire game. We don't have the original box because we deboxed it into something a bit smaller. But in this game, you're placing these tiles together so that the two halves make these little flowers. And then as you kind of add them together, this little divot, once you have 4, it'll make a circle, and you're going to place a lotus token there. So you're trying to use all the lotus tokens by the end of the game by going through all the tiles, but honestly, like, the game just ends when it ends. So it's very calm. It's very like puzzly, but in a good way. I found myself reaching for this a lot when I like needed a brain break from work, just like Q-less. And I've also taken this on a plane. It's just been a really good time. I know you haven't played it.
Yeah, but I have been wanting to.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good little game for sure.
Good honorable mention.
Yep. So for my first honorable mention is going to be Typewriter by Farshore Games. So we learned recently that we just didn't really have any word board games.
Yeah.
And we're both super wordy people. I mean, we love word puzzles and word games. We're both big readers. This came highly recommended to us. And so when we were at PAX Unplugged, Jamie actually stopped by the Farshore Games booth and demoed it.
Yes.
And picked it up immediately.
Yeah.
It's a great little game where you're using these double-sided typewriter tiles that are very clicky clacky and very, very tactile to use, and you're just spelling out words. Technically it plays 2 to 5 players. We love it at 2. We tried it at 5 and weren't huge fans of it.
Yeah. Full transparency, we did not get through a game with 5 people. It was the wrong 5 people. But the game is very solitaire, and there is a lot of downtime between turns, which is that's not true in a 2-player scenario.
Yeah.
But in a I think maybe you could play it 3-player, but I think 4 or 5-player, you're just waiting too long.
Yeah, I would, if I had 5 people, I would much rather 3 people play typewriter and 2 people play some kind of duo game.
Yeah.
But that being said, huge fans of typewriter, and definitely one that we've been playing quite a bit of and will continue to play quite a bit more of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for
sure.
And
you've got another acrylic tile clicky clacky for your other honorable mention.
Yes. So this would be in my top 10 list of games if it was out yet. Gosh, I just love saying the name. Is Kaiser Cucumber and the Gangs of McChanicle Corners. This is a game that we demoed at PAX Unplugged.
Yes.
And so this is a playtest.
Seppi from Fight in a Box reached out and asked if we wanted to play this game and set up an appointment with us. And we liked it a lot, so they let us take home a playtest, which was very generous. And the playtest copy is this like acrylic tile version, which we've never seen and we love.
I mean, they're so clicky clacky. I mean, they're just great. It's a super quick and easy game. It's a little asymmetrical because you have different goals and some slightly different player powers that you can use one time. basically everybody has the same 3 categories of scoring, where you're either trying to get a certain gang to get away with their crimes, a certain gang arrested, and a certain gang just sort of chased away. But each faction that you play as wants different gangs to fall into those categories. You're playing all your things face up and face down, using different card abilities, or tile abilities, I suppose. And it's just a great little game where, as you play it with the same person over and over again, you'd sort of just start metagaming strategy on top of one another, which we really love.
We do that already with the game Love Letter, which we've talked about in some of our shorts before. And as we demoed this, which shout out to Mark, who was very patient with us while he was demoing it, and is also the one who did all the art for this game, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, like look at these little bunny bobbies. They're so great.
Oh my god, they're my favorite. I love them. But we looked at each other several times, and I was like, I feel like this is going to become like Love Letter for us, you know? So in a different way. So definitely going to check out when the Kickstarter goes live. Early February, I think is what they told us is what is planned.
Yep.
So get on their email list right now, fightingabox.com.
I think it's fightingabox.com, right?
It might be Fight in a Box Games. Editing Jamie will happily put it here in the description.
Yeah, regardless, we're going to be making a couple more videos on this leading up to the Kickstarter, just talking about it, doing, you know, sort of like a short form review, as well as more of like a longer form and like a full playthrough of it. We're super excited for the Kickstarter to drop. Definitely going to be backing it, you know, day 0. And we're definitely going to be getting the acrylic tile version, because these are super good. And in the Kickstarter, they announced that they're going to be doing a reprint of the acrylic tile version of one of their other games, Mouse, Cheese, Cat, Cucumber.
Yes.
This is a sequel to.
Yeah, so the characters from that game, if you're familiar with that game at all, those make up the Gangs of McChanicle Corners. And this is not sponsored, but we got an early copy and we just like talking about it.
Yeah, we just love it. It's a phenomenal game, and we're super excited to check it out more.
On to the official top 10. I'm going to start with Maple Valley.
It's so good.
It's so cute. This is the second game in the Creature Comforts universe, a sequel, or what did you call it?
A sidequel.
A sidequel.
Yeah.
So it shares the same world as Creature Comforts. It's got same artwork, similar characters, but an entirely different system. Yeah. So in this game, you are preparing for a spring festival, and you are the kids of the town. Aren't they so cute? That are kind of deploying your friends to go grab stuff for this festival. So it's not necessarily like a worker placement, like you're kind of moving your workers around, and there's no dice involved. It's entirely different. I just really enjoyed the gameplay of this. I thought it was really fun, and I love the artwork in it. I love the world. So just a good game for me. Yeah.
KDBG makes phenomenal games. And like we said, it's not just Creature Comforts 2. If it had different aesthetics, nobody would think that they're related whatsoever. It's a completely different game. It's just in the same universe. So it's fully worth picking up, whether or not you have Creature Comforts.
Yep.
And it's a great time. It's one that we like getting to the table a lot, for sure.
Yes.
Not surprised it's in the top 10.
And I popped by KTBG's booth at PAX Unplugged towards the tail end of us being there, so they were kind of packing up. But they teased and started talking about a new game in the Creature Comforts universe that I think is going to be called River Market. That's probably wrong, but something along those lines. And it is going to be like a Creature Comforts game, but again, an entirely new system.
Yeah.
I heard very little about it, but I was assured that like different mechanics, different systems. So very excited to check that out. Hopefully in 2025.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But we'll see.
Yep. And for me, kicking off my top 10. So this is a game that we both wrote off for far too long.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, we absolutely judged the book by its cover on this, despite the cover being so cute and chunky.
Yeah, we saw a lot of videos on it, but we assumed they were all like sponsored ads, and
Yeah.
It's we were like, people are being paid to say it's a good game.
Yeah.
But it is a good game.
It is. So this is Doomlings, and it really is a nice little card game. It's a quick play, it's a quick learn, a quick teach.
Yes.
We've only been playing it, one-on-one.
Yeah.
It's really good to travel with. We bring it to like a brewery or a restaurant. We get a quick game in, and it's just so fun. All of the cards, they're all different. They have different mechanics.
Yep.
And there's some really cool expansions to it that add some nice themes. But I mean, even just the base game, highly recommend.
Yeah, and I will save my opinions on it because it is, spoiler alert, going to show up later in my list.
Yes. And on to number 9.
For now, we're moving on, and my number 9 is Sky Team.
Great game.
I would not have guessed this would be in my top 10 when I was first looking at this game. And if you're a board gamer, you're probably like, that was a fool's notion. Sky Team is so good. And you're right. It is very good. The reason why I didn't like this, or I didn't think I would like this that much, is because it's a cooperative game for 2 players only. But there is limited communication in the game. And I have a nasty taste in my mouth, or a bias, because I am the number 1 hater of the game, The Mind. And you can hate on me all you want in the comments. David's given me all the flack anyway. I just don't like it. And I thought this was going to be a similar experience, but it's not. In this game, you are a pilot and a co-pilot. You roll dice and place them in different areas to determine what actions you can do to help safely land the plane. That's what you're trying to do by the end of it. You have a certain criteria you have to meet by the end of it. You each have different things you have to meet. And I think what I enjoy about it is that there is some limited communication. Like before each round, before you roll your dice, you basically can tell each other like, hey, I'm trying to take care of this thing. Hopefully. But you're never going to see, once you roll, you don't see what your other person rolls. You don't know what they're going to place until they place it. So like it is kind of that like you got to meld together and work together, but in a good way. Yeah. I think there's strategy to it.
Yeah,
whereas I don't think there's strategy to The Mind. You can come at me.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one. This really shows like the quintessential difference between limited communication and no communication. And limited communication is great because you make the most out of the communication. And like you said, you really kind of meld.
Yeah, it's a strategy. You come up with the same strategy. There is an expansion they have just come out with that we will probably end up picking up, but we do want to play through what we have first. And it's got a like campaign-esque style to it. So if you're looking for something to play with a partner that is cooperative but still like high stakes, Sky Team. Yeah,
it's a good one. So for my number 9, this is going to be not much of a surprise to people that know me personally because I am a lifelong TCG player. I even have a tattoo of all the mana symbols from Magic the Gathering on my arm.
I am not.
This is Disney Lorcana. It's a really fun game, y'all. If you haven't picked it up because you're just like nervous, oh, it's Disney, how fun could it be? It's pretty fun, and it's got a lot more depth to it than it initially seems. Like if you looked into it when it first came out, like just in set 1, and you were like, it seems kind of shallow. There's a lot more to it now. Yeah. There's a lot of different decks that are doing a lot of different things and a lot of cool strategies. I mean, every time I open a pack and see cards that are, to me, new, it just sets all my gears turning.
Yeah. I watched a video actually trying to help myself understand deck building. And I realized halfway into the video that they were only talking about, I think maybe the first set and maybe Floodborn, which is, I think, the second set. The combos that they were talking about, even I knew that there are big differences now. Yeah. So that's insane to me.
Yeah. It's definitely a good game. It's been a lot of fun checking it out together. I'd been trying for years to get Jamie into TCGs. But I think the combination of I have not been playing this for over a decade.
Yeah.
Mixed with Disney, mixed with random loot boxes, aka packs of cards, has really helped sell her on it.
Yeah.
But it's been a fun journey. And we've even met, a couple people on, TikTok that play Lorcana. So it's been fun to have a little thing to bond with people over.
Curvin, if you're watching this, I will play with you eventually. I just need to build my deck again. We'll see.
Yes. But yeah, that's a great game.
Yeah.
Not surprised that it was on my top 10. And yeah, also not surprised that it wasn't on yours.
Yeah. I'm not a TCGer. I had a couple Pokemon cards as a kid because I liked the cards. And actually, if you looked at my Lorcana deck now, you'd probably be like, well, you probably just like the artwork. That's true. And I think that's a strategy in itself.
Definitely.
But I am willing to get more into this and to look and to see the strategies. It's just not on my top 10 right now because I'm not confident in the game yet, but I will get there. I feel like it has potential. So excited to see where that leads. Number 8.
Yes.
This is Life in Reterra.
So good.
This is another unexpected game from us. This is it's produced by Hasbro.
Yeah.
Which does a lot of like Hasbro's known for like your classic board games, but I haven't really known them to be a more modern board game company, and this really surprised us. I had seen 1 or 2 TikToks about it, so I knew kind of what it was. You had seen
0.
Yeah, which is very surprising.
Yeah. I was still interested in it because I had just seen it on the shelf at Target, and I read the back, and I thought,
look at the color scheme.
Yeah, I mean, the artwork, I said it, before in life, it's almost like steampunk meets Doctor Who, or I guess it's more like solar punk.
Dr. Seuss, not Doctor Who.
Yeah, it's like solar punk meets Dr. Seuss, not Doctor Who.
But yeah, in this game, it's a post-apocalyptic theme, but I think with a lot of hope. I mean, you can tell from the box, like it's very like this. The world ended, but it ended a while ago.
Yeah.
So you're using tiles to rebuild a community, and then based on how you place those tiles, you can also place these little building tokens and kind of get an engine going for yourself as well. You will find a lot of tile placement games on both of our lists, but I really feel like each game we've picked has a unique mechanic to it that sets it aside from just being a tile placement game. And in Life in Reterra, that has to be the variability. This comes with different sets of building tokens and cards and things you can use to build your engine that make the plays of this game like endlessly variable. And I truly, truly love that about this game.
Yeah, it is really, really good. It's such a phenomenal game. Most of my thoughts, though, we're going to save till much later in this video because this is high on my list.
Yep.
For my number 8, this is a game that we weren't even sure we were going to get this year, but it is Everdell Duo. We are huge Everdell super fans. We have everything Everdell. We have all the expansions. We have Farshore, My Little Everdell.
If the camera panned slightly up, you would see our big box of Everdell right above this shelf.
The big complete collection box.
Yep. Which we backed after only playing base Everdell at a friend's house twice.
Yeah, we just fell so in love with it.
Big fans. So this was a no-brainer.
Yeah, I actually, Jamie learned that this existed by me saying, oh, hey, Jamie, I backed the Kickstarter for Everdell Duo. Yeah. Oh, also, there's a Kickstarter for Everdell Duo.
Yeah, and I remember thinking about it afterwards and then being like, wait, you backed it, right? And he was like, I was like, oh, we should back it. And he was like, yeah, I backed it. I already told you that I backed it. And it was such a pleasant surprise when the package showed up.
Yeah, it's a good time. So it absolutely, even if you have Everdell, I would highly recommend this. I almost recommend it more if you have Everdell because then I already know you're going to love it. It's also phenomenal if you're going to dip your toes into the Everdell universe. It has competitive mode. It has a cooperative campaign mode that we haven't checked out yet, but we're really, really excited for. And then as far as the competitive mode, it definitely plays much more cutthroat than regular Everdell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't have that sort of go at your own pace, cozy vibe to it.
Yeah.
It is, you play at the same time, basically, as one another. Not taking your turn concurrently, but there's a time system in the game. So it makes sure that nobody's, you know, in the fourth season when somebody's only back in the second season or something.
Yeah.
But all in all, it's really, really good. Super happy with it. And it's definitely one that's going to be coming back to the table along with other games in the Everdell universe too.
And it will also be coming back to this table because I will be giving my thoughts later in the countdown.
Yes. Now we move to number 7.
Number 7, going on the cozy game trail. This is Gnome Hollow from the Op. I like to say this was a gnome brainer for us when we bought it. I hate myself for saying that.
I love you for this saying.
You can actually see, I realized in frame, we've got a couple of our little Christmas gnomes that you can see way over there. There's got to be at least 12 more around this house for Christmas time. So we knew when there was a gnome game, it was for us. Mm-hmm. And we knew that when there were mushrooms involved, it was for David.
For sure. Love mushrooms.
I really love this game, though, because, again, it is a tile placement game. But like I said with Life in Reterra, there's always a unique aspect to it. And this has a fun, dynamic market with it. So when you build these little mushroom circles or paths that you're using the tiles for, you collect mushrooms, and then you will eventually sell them in a market. But the market value of those mushrooms is going to change once you've sold them. Mm-hmm. So like as you sell mushrooms, like, okay, well now like mushrooms have been sold, so like demand is less or supply is more or whatever, so the price is going to go down. So you have to watch that. You have to keep in mind what your other players are doing. You're again building circles, you're placing things so that you have benefits later on. Quality is really, really good. They have player boards that have little magnetic pieces with them so that they don't shake around anywhere once you're placing them. And we love this game so much that we upgraded our components so that we have the wooden tokens now instead of just the cardboard tokens. And we're excited to play with that.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, we picked those up at PAX Unplugged.
Yes.
Directly from the Op.
Directly from the Op. We were already buying another game that's going to be featured in this countdown. And we were debating buying the wooden tokens, and the guy at the register said, if you buy these, I will maybe also add in a plush of this guy. And he's currently, you can't see him, but he's sitting on our top shelf right now. Yeah. So that happened. But yeah, Gnome Hollow.
Great,
totally recommend.
For my number 7, this is a game that, again, to anybody who knows me, this would be no surprise. This is Star Wars, the deck building game.
Not so cozy.
Nope, not at all. The opposite of cozy. It is a brutal fight to the death. I love Star Wars, always have my whole life, and I truly love deck building games. I've been playing them since they came out, basically. I've played some Dominion, Ascension, way too much Slay the Spire, so much, a lot of Star Realms, anything with deck building, I'm like, yeah, let's go, I love it. It's just a great style of game to me. And I really ignored this for way too long. I thought it was just going to be like a mediocre game, kind of skinned to look like Star Wars, but it's not. It really plays asymmetrically between the Empire and the Rebellion. You know, you have different strengths, different weaknesses. You're looking for different things, and it's just a really nice, tight deck builder that has been a good time to play. We've enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've even really liked this. I thought it was going to be something, like it was just going to be that mechanic of like building out your tableau and just kind of, that was the only thing that was going to be involved, which I'm not really a big fan of, but there are other mechanics sprinkled in with this as well that make it very good. And I do really love deck builders. There's a cool force mechanic in the game where it's a push-pull kind of aspect, tug of war, and if the force is on your side, you get bonuses. If it's not, I don't really think you get like negative stuff with it.
No,
but
if it's not on your
bonus.
side, that just means it's on your opponent's side, so they can get the bonuses.
I'm a little bit bitter.
Yeah.
Because right after we got this and liked it, we found out that a Clone Wars version of it is coming out, or is out, I think now.
Yeah.
And Ahsoka Tano is like my favorite character in Star Wars. So
Yeah.
kind of annoyed.
We both love the entire Clone Wars era.
Watched through the whole series.
Yeah. So we're definitely going to be looking into that. We don't know if they're like compatible at all or if they're fully separate.
Yeah. If you can mix them, can someone let us know in the comments? I mean, we'll look it up, but like, if you know, just tell us.
Yeah. Help us out. But yeah, definitely a great little game.
Yeah.
And that's certainly one that I'm always trying to get to the table for sure.
Yeah. Number 6. The smallest game in this list.
Yes.
Oink Games, who makes this game, always makes these little boxes like this that are like smaller than your hand. And this is a game we've been looking to pick up for a long time, but just couldn't find until we finally went to PAX Unplugged and got it at the convention. This is Drapolter, like drop and poltergeist, Drapolter. And it is such a fun and unique dexterity game. You are holding in your hand these little charms. This is just 2 of them. You've got 5 different unique ones. And you're just keeping them in the palm of your hand. And when a card is flipped, you can then kind of turn over your hand. And you're trying to drop the objects on the card and only the objects on the card. That is the trick of it. And if you do that, and you grab this guy with your other hand, you earn a bell. And that is a victory point in this game. It's a tiny little baby bell. And you add it to the objects in your hand. And it is the most infuriating because you're holding all these objects and you're like, yeah, I've got some bells. I'm winning. I'm doing a great job. And then as soon as you drop a bell, you lose it forever.
Yep.
I have never held more than 3 bells.
Me neither.
To win, I think you have to hold 5.
To either get 5 or, which has been how basically everybody has won.
Yeah.
You have to have the most in hand at the end of the game.
Yeah. What I love about this game is that it's unique, and every single person we've played it with, we played it with 2 different groups of friends. Every single person we've played it with has enjoyed it and has scored.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to these dexterity games, I feel like you can go an entire game and not have scored at all. And I really thought that's how this was going to go, but it wasn't. Like, every single person has scored at least once in this game. Yeah. It's so good.
It's definitely a good one, and definitely recommend checking it out. My number 6, new to us, but for anybody that's played it, will be no shocker that is high up on this list. This is Cascadia. This is such a great little game. It's very tactile with these little wooden tokens. It is a tile laying game. So each turn it's got open drafting. So each turn you're drafting a tile and a little animal token, and you put the tiles out to make little habitats, put tokens based on, you know, their own little conditions of where they can be. Each of the animals has different rules for how they score. So some might want to be in groups of themselves. Some might want to be in groups of not themselves. It's like separate from one another. Fish like to be in a big line of fish down a stream. And the game comes with a variety of different options for how the scoring conditions can go, which adds a lot of replayability, and also various different power levels, like difficulty levels that you can play at. Yeah,
so there's one set of like scoring condition cards that are the easiest condition. It's basically just like however many of that animal that you have. And that's a family variant. So this is a game that you can play with people who are non-gamers. Yeah. And we have not done that yet, but we are planning to.
Yes.
And then there is a variant with more advanced goals than the standard game. And then there's also like a page of like scoring conditions that you can kind of like check off. So there's another aspect to that. And that's something that like we would do, you know?
Yeah. It's just a very nice, cozy game. There's essentially no player interaction outside of, oh darn, you took what I'm trying to take.
Yeah.
But it's just a really good one. It's nice and cozy. It's good for a date night. It has nigh endless replayability, but very deep strategy, honestly. It's a really good one. I feel like in regards to like the family weight thing, I think this is a game that my mom would like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think this would be up her alley.
Yeah, it's calm, a little puzzly. So
yeah, she likes little puzzles like that.
Yeah. We have now made it into the top 5. And to kick us off, it's Return of the Doomlings.
They're back.
They're back and they're pissed. This is Doomlings. This is just, it's a good game. Again, it was something that we had avoided purchasing for so long, but I think we ended up getting this on sale.
Yeah.
The anticipation is killing me. And we got it mainly because I love this guy.
Yeah.
And
such a little cutie.
Yeah. And there's another one that if we wanted to buy 2 copies of the game, we would get. The thing I love about this game is that it is so, once you play it once, it is so easy to understand.
Yeah.
It's just playing cards and getting points. That's all it is. That is all it is. Yeah, like yes, there's a timer aspect of it that's like, okay, now in this round we can only blah 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 blah. But like it's all kind of learn as you go, and it's I don't know why I was a little intimidated by it the first time we played, but it's like so easy.
Yeah.
Easy to take somewhere because it's just a deck of cards, and the artwork is all of these little round guys. They're so cute. They're so cute. But you're playing to the end of the world, which I think is so funny.
Yeah.
We own an expansion set for this now.
Yep.
We own a playmat for this now, and it adds so much variability to the game. And there's even another expansion that you can get. There is another you said there's another like mystery TCG style.
Yeah, there's like a TCG style mystery booster pack expansion too.
Yeah, which is really cool. So I just think this is a great game.
Yeah.
It's good. It's if you've seen it and you're like, this is getting too much hype, I'm suspicious, don't be suspicious. That's good.
Don't be suspicious. It's a good one for sure. Definitely recommend. For me, my number 5, this is like Jamie's number 1,000 because she hates it. But I do think that she might like it a little more if she played it a little bit more. But this is Onitama. This game is so good, y'all.
Listen, before I get hate, when we rated this game on our initial play in our Unplayed Games Challenge in our shorts or on our TikTok, you will see that I also rated it a 10 out of 10. Like I let it have the 10 out of 10. I recognize a good game production when it happens. I don't like abstract strategy games. I've never liked chess. I just don't like them.
Yeah. This is such a tight little game. It stores away so well in the box.
The production is just...
You're playing on this playmat, and basically each of you has 4 little pawns plus a king, and you're just trying to take out your opponent. And
each little pawn has its own holder.
Yep.
The mat rolls up, tucks in next to it. It is the production on it is so good.
Yeah. And the gameplay is so smooth and deep with just endless replayability. The base game has 15 of these little movement cards, but you only use 5 in a game chosen at random. So it is just phenomenal. It's just such a good game. You could play it a million times and still be figuring it out. Yeah. Anything with magnet closing is great. But yeah, it's just a simple, elegant game. It's so easy to teach.
Yeah.
You could just sit somebody down. You could ignore the extra 10 cards. Don't even tell them about it and just say, this is what we do. This is how we play. These move around. And do it.
Yeah.
It's a great game. Highly, highly, highly recommend. If you enjoy chess or Go or any other kind of like abstract strategy game like that, any kind of tactical war game like that, it's a really, really good one. Cannot recommend it highly enough.
I want to like it.
I'm going to make her like it.
Number 4. This is a game we very recently played.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe it shouldn't be in my top, but it is.
No, it deserves its spot. This
is Avatar The Last Airbender, Aang's Destiny, from the Op. It is a cooperative deck building game that takes you through the story, Aang's story. So Avatar The Last Airbender, through the whole series. Mm-hmm. If you have played or seen Hogwarts Battle, which is also from the Op, I have been told that it is basically an Avatar reskin of that system. There are a few mechanics that are different. Mm-hmm. But I think if you're an Avatar fan, like, this is a great play. I mean, the artwork on the cards is really beautiful. You are playing as one of the hero characters. It is a campaign game, so there are different boxes to open up as you play through different episodes. And I believe there are new, like, we'll be able to unlock other characters that join, Team Avatar throughout the series. And basically, you're building a deck to try and defeat Fire Nation opponents. Like, you're trying to play through a deck of opponents, you're trying to play through a deck of objectives, and you're trying to do all that before this Fire Nation ship makes it to the end of the track and captures the Avatar. We played the first episode, loved it.
Yeah.
Very, very, very excited to play through the rest. Yeah. I think it'll be a great time.
Yeah, it's definitely a good time, and it scores so many points because it plays through all the story beats of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Mm-hmm. And look at the foiling on this box.
Yeah.
Super good. Good job,
so
Op.
Cool. Mm-hmm. And also to the Op, we really love The Legend of Korra.
Oh, I'm a really big Legend of Korra fan.
Yeah.
I love a girl Avatar. So I just, if you wanted to maybe just keep the fun going.
Yeah, that would be much appreciated.
Solid. Solid.
For my number 4, we have far and away the physically largest game here.
Oh, yeah.
Top
10. I had the smallest box.
Yep.
You have the largest
I got
box.
the biggest. So this is Dice Throne Adventures.
With... Well, like, a little commotion for the box, right?
I mean, it's like the spine of a huge tome. It's got all these pages.
It's pretty cool.
It's really sweet. I almost wish that it could open like a book instead of like a box, but that would have cost way more, I'm sure.
Yeah.
This game is so good. So we love Dice Throne, and if you haven't played Dice Throne, just think of it as competitive battle Yahtzee. And it's a really fun time. It's really good. And Dice Throne Adventures is compatible with any of the characters in Dice Throne. And basically what this does is just give you a cooperative kind of dungeon crawling adventure that you can go on. Mm-hmm. And you play as the same characters in Dice Throne. The combat works the same way, just against different like NPC opponents. And so this is far and away, if you own, 6, 8 or so different Dice Throne characters, adding 2 more isn't going to add too much content to what you have Dice Throne wise.
Yeah.
This, whatever Dice Throne you have, this doubles what you can do with it.
Yeah, you could have a basic 2-player pack like we have. Mm-hmm. This is 2 of the characters from season 1. You could have this and have an entire massive campaign game when you add this on. We have this, we have another one of these, and then we have the big Marvel battle chest, the first one.
Yep.
And you can also mix and match characters. So you could take this Moon Elf, which is one of my favorites to play as, and you can mix it with like the Black Panther or the Scarlet Witch or literally anything, or the Barbarian. Like, it's cool.
Yeah, definitely recommend Dice Throne Adventures if you're a fan of Dice Throne. If you have a couple of things, it's also great because it's compatible with, like I said, all Dice Throne characters.
Yes, even the new ones.
Yep.
There is a whole chest that came out after this was produced.
Yep.
that is like X-Men.
Yep, all the X-Men. Super excited to get that at some point. But they all have little standees to play with this. So it's great because as soon as you own Dice Throne Adventures, all of a sudden that's just a whole extra thing that you can now do with anything Dice Throne related that you ever get.
Yeah.
So highly, highly recommend. It's definitely the priciest thing on this list as well.
Oh, yeah.
But super worth it if you enjoy Dice Throne. And it's also great because, you know, sometimes you aren't in the mood for a like competitive cutthroat killing one another 1v1 game.
Yeah.
But maybe you're in the mood to play with, you know, the characters of Dice Throne and to like explore the mechanics of them a little bit deeper. And so this is a way that you can do that in a cooperative environment.
Yes.
So very cool for that as well. On to a top 3.
These are the big boys, the heavy hitters, and confession time. I didn't realize this until just now. All of my top 3 are like re-implementations or like sequels or something like that to games that I have already known and loved. So this should not have been a surprise to me.
Yeah.
Wormspan.
So good.
This is the spiritual successor to Wingspan. You can, if you know Wingspan, it's got a very similar color theme. It's got similar font.
It says a Wingspan game on it.
Yeah. But it's dragons. And I mean, we're fantasy people. Like we play Dungeons and Dragons. We love stuff like this.
Yeah.
So even if this was just Wingspan with wagons, I probably would have loved it anyway. But it broke my top 10 and it's my number 3 because I really love what they did with the mechanics of this game. I think they took Wingspan, which is a great game, tightened it up more, and sprinkled in a few other things that I was super worried would be too complicated. But it fits super well.
Yeah.
I think if you've played Wingspan before, you will have a great time with this. I think if you haven't played Wingspan, you'll still have a great time.
Yeah.
Like it's still a good learn. It's still a good play. Like we hadn't played Wingspan in who knows how long. And we jumped into this and it was great. I love all the dragon artwork. I especially love, you can see them on this side, the baby dragons. Even though I don't use them, I love their artwork. I think all the components are well done. All of the symbols that tell you what to do and when are well done. It's just a solid game.
Yeah, it's definitely good. If I was gonna recommend, like, okay, if somebody's gonna just get one game, no expansions, this or Wingspan, I'd probably recommend Wormspan, unless I knew that they were a little bit more novice of a gamer, because this is slightly more complicated than Wingspan for sure, but not to a huge detrimental degree. Like you said, it's definitely not a particularly difficult learn. If you've played Wingspan, this is easy to learn for sure. I think that there is room to own both. There are some slight differences. I think it's definitely much tighter with this than with some other things that have been and will be on these lists. This is definitely one where I'm like, look, if you really love dragons, go ahead and pick this up even if you already own Wingspan. But generally speaking, for most people, I would say pick the theme that speaks to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wormspan is very, very well done.
Great game. Stonemeyer always does a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. So for my number 3, it's coming back. Life in Reterra. I just can't believe I haven't seen more about this, and I think it's just due to lack of marketing, which, given that one of the biggest companies in the industry, just a multi-billion-dollar probably company, is the one that makes this. What the hell, Hasbro? You should be marketing this. This is a really good game. You know, I've described it before to people as it's like King Domino, but plus, 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 plus. You know, it has similar aspects of these different tiles where you're making kind of like regions of terrains, but then you put down these polyomino buildings that have a variety of different effects. And also, just as a shout out to it, this is the $30 base game here, and just look at how great this storage is. It's got all these different boxes with lids and sections for everything.
Everything has its own place.
Yeah, all
to
these
the
little
point
tiles.
where we've done it. We've shaken in our TikTok or our shorts video where we played this game. We have shaken this box all over, and all the components are in their spot. It is
Nothing
so
moves.
solid.
Yeah. And the game is just great. It's cozy, it's hopeful, you can play where there's a decent amount of player interaction depending on the buildings that you choose, and you can also choose buildings so that there's basically no player interaction outside of which tile did you take or which building did you build. So that makes it great because you can play it if you're in a cutthroat mood, you can play it if you're in just like a cozy casual more solitaire mood, and there's like 84,000.
Yeah, 86,400.
Yeah, some high amount of
Editing
different
Jamie will fact
combinations.
check me here.
Yeah, so many different combinations of buildings, so much replayability here, and it's honestly, it's a really quick learn. The mechanics are simple,
Yeah,
but they go together well to make it pretty deep, and it's definitely one where, because it stores so well, you can just start playing immediately.
Yeah, the setup time on it is really nice, and it's one that we've been meaning to bring back to the table.
Yeah, it's one that I've been just yearning for.
Yeah. So while David brought my number 8 back into play, I, for my number 2, am going to bring his number 8 back into play. This is Everdell Duo. What a win.
So good.
All the Everdell games, in my opinion, are a win. And I was a little nervous when I saw some of the components of this because I was like, is this just smaller Everdell? Mm-hmm. And it is, but it's more than that, you know? David mentioned that there's a finite number of turns in this game. There's a timing mechanic to it. And that really makes the game for me. This says it's about 30 minutes of play. I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's tight. I think it is just like well done to rein it kind of in. And I am so excited to play through a campaign of this, to play it cooperatively, to play a campaign. There was something like the Night Weaver in Everdell that's like one of the expansions that we played through once, and I didn't know how we felt about it. We'd probably have to do it again. But we're looking at this little campaign book, and we're really excited to play through some of it. You play as either the hares or the tortoises. Yeah. And that's just so cute. What a cute little detail. So Everdell Duo, if you are looking to dip your toe into the Everdell universe, this is a great way to do it. It's much more affordable than the base game of Everdell. I think we picked it up for $20 on the Kickstarter. It might be retailing for $35. I don't know if it's hit shelves yet or just online. I know they were selling it at PAX for $35. But that's honestly great entry price. The components are really great in it. It's very quality. It's a solid game.
Yeah, it's definitely so highly recommended by us. And again, even if you have Everdell, I would recommend Everdell Duo, especially if you're like us and you have a partner who you play a lot of games with. And like, don't get me wrong, we love playing Everdell 2-player, and this doesn't replace that by any means. It's so interesting because it definitely feels like you're playing Everdell, but because of the way the timing mechanic works in this, making it much more cutthroat, it really feels different. Everdell feels like you're just both playing the same game. Everdell Duo feels like you're playing a competitive game.
Yeah, and there are new cards in this too. I forgot to mention that. So if you are thinking this is just going to be a reskin, it's not. And some of the cards that you know and love are in there, but they just have a different way they work.
Yep.
So Everdell Duo.
Now, on to my number 2.
I can't believe this is your number 2. And I say that because this is a game that I had wanted us to purchase for so long.
Yeah.
I had been like, we should get this game. We should get this game. We should get this game.
And I didn't know anything about it. I had never particularly seen anything about it. But after playing it, I'm not at all surprised that it's up here, because I really just connected with this game. The Search for Lost Species.
It's a good game.
It's so good. So
it's a good game.
I have such a love, both like intellectually, but also like a very deep emotional connection from my childhood to any kind of logic puzzle game. So those grid logic puzzles, Sudokus, anything like that. And that's what this is. It's a logic deduction game where you're trying to find the lost species. And it just works so well. And I mean, absolutely had a headache while playing it. And it is far and away number one on our list of games we'll never play with friends, because
this is just for us.
It's just for us, y'all.
This isn't on my list because it broke my brain.
Yeah.
But I really, really love it. Because I'm also a logic puzzler as well. I used to have puzzle books of those as a kid as well.
We still do. Both of us.
And I think even if you do Sudoku, this is like that with a theme. Myrtle, that's what those logic puzzles are that we're talking about. I know Myrtle's really big.
Yeah. It's just a really, really good game. It does use an app, which scared us at first.
Yeah, for sure.
But it works pretty well. It works very smoothly with it.
Yeah.
And, as we play more and more and kind of get a little bit more used to the mechanics, it'll certainly speed up. Our first playthrough took us quite a while, and we had lots of moments of just brains shattering.
There are a lot of moments of us just being like, I'm sorry, my turn's taking so long. I just don't know what to do.
Yeah. But it's
good.
It's so good. And this is definitely one, again, I mean, just like all of these really being our top 10s on here, this is one that we've both really been wanting to get back to the table, because it's a really, really good play.
If you puzzle, you should puzzle with this guy.
Yeah, this is definitely the puzzliest board game that we have.
Yeah. There is also Search for Planet X, which is the game that came out prior to this. Based on the feedback I have seen, they both have their positives and negatives. You should just pick the theme that speaks to you. For us, that was animals.
Not a surprise that we went with the cozier animal version based on the rest of our lists.
Yeah. Great game, though.
All right.
Can I get
number one?
Can I get a little drum roll? I feel like people are going to roll their eyes at this, but ooh, look, another Everdell game. This is Everdell Farshore, and when we were rating our games, I just forgot how much I loved this game. And when we bought this, I was really skeptical, because I was like, is it just a reskin of Everdell? Which, to be honest, if it was, I still would like it. But it adds things to Everdell. It tightens things with Everdell that previous Everdell didn't do. It's got this whole mechanic where you go around, like you have a boat that you go around the island with. It's all beach themed. All the creatures are like sea creatures, or like
sailors.
Or like little crabs, or like octopi or something. They're so cute. It's got everything you know and love from Everdell. It's just tightened. It's a little bit different. I think this is easier to take to the table than our current big setup of Everdell, which, I mean, it's definitely due to the fact that we have every single expansion. But I mean, I think if you, again, want to dip your toe into Everdell, but you want something a little bit more than Duo, this is a great option as well. It's a little bit cheaper than base game Everdell. It stands really well on its own. It's very solid, and I've been itching to play it again.
Yeah. I mean, fully agree on all accounts. It's a really good game. I definitely think this one, even more so than like Wormspan with Wingspan, this still stands on its own and is worth getting, even if you have the base game of Everdell. Even if you have expansions, this is still worth getting. This has enough unique mechanics that it's a different experience for sure. It's certainly not mandatory, but it makes a great first step into the Everdell universe, especially if you're not really looking for a duo game. If you think, this plays 1 to 4, so if you think you might commonly have 3 or 4 players, this would be one that'd be worth picking up. Honestly, I think that because of some of the changes and the tightenings and some of the different things, I think Everdell Farshore might beat out just flat base game Everdell for me, just as a game. It's really good. It has a lot of nice little things to it that add a little bit more variety and replayability to it that I really like. It helps make sure that there's a lot of different strategies that you can implement. Obviously, I think once you start getting all the expansions, I think Everdell tops out still as the best in its universe. But Farshore it's a really good game, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really good. It's cute. It's good. There's an axolotl in the game. So I just really love it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely worthy of
Pick it
a
up.
top spot.
Yeah. Okay. Drum roll for you.
So now time for something very underwhelming. Don't even have the box for it. We reboxed this one. So this is actually the little zip case that our microphones came in.
Yeah.
But it works well to hold this. This is Scout. This is a very much beloved game that many people have talked about. This is also by Oink Games. However, unlike Drapulter, which we have the Oink Games box, we got this from Target in the special Target version, which comes in a tuck box.
Yeah.
Which is basically like half as thick as this, but then
wider.
Twice as wide.
And it's also thin and it's bad.
Yeah.
It's just bad. So if you find it in this box, get it.
Highly recommend.
The only plus side I think to this version is that it comes with tokens in the original print that are very tiny and easy to lose. Those tokens become cards in this new version. So honestly, for travel purposes, I think we prefer this. We just wish it was in this box, truly.
Yeah. And honestly, we're going to find a different box that fits it a little bit tighter at some point. Now, as far as the actual game itself, basically, you have all these different cards. They're all two numbered, right? So it's every combination of 2 different numbers between 1 and 10. So there's a 1 and a 2, a 1 and a 3, a 1 and a 4, etc. And all you're doing is you're playing cards from your hand to beat what your opponent has played. So you're playing sets or runs, and if your opponent's played 1, 2, 3, you could play 4, 5, 6 to beat it, or you could play 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 1, 1, 1. Whatever you really want. And whenever you beat your opponent's active set, you get to take those cards as points. If you can't beat what your opponent has played, then you have to give them your little scout tokens here, which also count as victory points if you don't spend them.
Yeah.
You have to give those up so that you can take cards that your opponent has played, which not only weakens their set, but lets you add them to your hand.
Yeah.
Probably the most unique mechanic of Scout, though, is that when you get dealt your hand, you cannot rearrange it.
Which is hard when you're first learning it.
Because it's all you want to do.
But you can snap into it.
Yeah.
It's good.
Basically, you look at your hand and you either decide that you want it that way, or you flip the whole hand upside down and decide that you want it that way instead.
That is the only time you can do it. Is right at the start of the game.
Yep.
And then as you grab cards, you can decide which side you want, either the top or the bottom.
And where to put them, yeah.
Great 2-player game. Yeah. One that we've already taken places. And one that I feel like is relatively easy to teach.
Yeah, and also it's easy to teach to people that aren't board gamers at all. If you have, that uncle that plays euchre, if you have that dad that plays poker, if your mom is really into bridge, they can all pick this game up.
Yeah.
They might get scared if you don't preface it by saying, like, listen, just trust me, it's just a card game.
Yeah.
But as soon as they play through it once, they'll probably start kicking your ass at it because they've been playing card games where they have to think along
Yeah.
these lines for a long time.
We played it with my brother and my younger brother and my younger cousin at Christmas, and they picked up on it really easily. They're both kind of numbers guys.
Yeah.
And even they picked up on it super quick. Don't let the theme deter you. If you don't like circus themed things, we don't really care for circus themed things, but it's a really good game. If you like circus things, that's just a fun bonus.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good game. We play it all the time now, honestly. It's a great for 2 players and great for more as well. Slightly different rules between 2-player and more than 2-player, but not anything difficult. Very, very quick and easy to figure all that out.
Yeah. Well, that is our top 10 for 2024. We would love to hear if there were some top games that you played through this year. Please feel free to drop them in the comments. Or if any of these games that we talked about really interested you, feel free to drop those below as well.
Yeah. And if there's any games that were, in our top 10 and you hate those games, I mean,
tell us we're wrong.
Yeah. Tell us that you think we're dumb and I'll fight with you.
Yeah. Tell us that, tell me that 2 Everdell games is my number 1 and 2 is a dumb decision.
Yeah. When we own all of the Everdell games.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's definitely been a great year of gaming. We're excited for the next year of gaming coming up. And we're excited to be able to make more longer form videos like this here on YouTube.
Yeah, so stay tuned as we play through some more games, do some longer reviews, and give some more recommendations.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.